Hello there and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jonathan and it's a pleasure to welcome you to my little space in the internet. This is the third in my It Is Time series, so in case you've not watched any of the older videos, please do check them out. I'll put some links up there. And this is really a continuation of that series. I've got a few things on my heart to share with you today and hopefully you would learn a thing or two. Okay, so for today's session, as usual, I've got my notes here, so I'll be kind of looking in this direction. And yeah, let's start. A few stories. So again, from the Bible. So in Luke 17, there's a story about the 10 lepers. Now, lepers are folks that had leprosy. Now, back in the Bible day, leprosy was used for a wide kind of variety of skin diseases. And the thing with these diseases was if you had leprosy, because they didn't have any cure per se at the time, those people were basically segregated and you had to stay away from, the camp. And so Jesus is traveling, he's going somewhere, moving between Samaria and Galilee with his disciples, and these lepers come to him. And as they come to him, obviously they stand at a distance and they shout, they try to get his attention and they go, Jesus, heal us, have mercy on us. And Jesus stops and kind of looks at them. And I think the first thing there in this story is they opened their mouth and asked. And I think that's the first thing, right? Someone once said, closed mouths don't get fed. You need to ask for what you want, right? So, whether that's in prayer, whether that's at work, whether that's in whatever situation, ask yourself, have I really asked for this, right? You desire this promotion, you desire, a pay rise or whatever it is you desire. Have you won? Have you prayed about it, as a Christian, for example? And if you're not a Christian, have you asked, for it? So that's the first thing, ask. If you don't ask, you wouldn't get. If these guys hadn't raised up their voice and asked Jesus, perhaps the story would just have occurred that, Jesus passed by, saw some lepers and kept on going. Anyway, they get Jesus' attention and Jesus goes to them. And interestingly, again, thinking around on my first video, I talked about different manifestations of God. There have been times where Jesus has seen ill people and has healed them on the spot, right? But in this case, he says to them, go and show yourselves to the priest. So he doesn't heal them at once. And it's a bit weird. And for a little bit of backstory, so the Israelites back in Leviticus 14 were given certain instructions for when you get healed from leprosy. And so the instruction was, if you think you've been healed from leprosy, you need to go show yourself to the priest. And the priest would kind of examine you, check to see, no more scabs, everything is healed. And once that is done, there'll be some ceremony to kind of then almost welcome you back into society. And so this was, what was in the mind of Jesus and obviously in the mind of the lepers when they got that instruction, go and show yourself to the priest. And they turned around and started working towards where the priest was. Now, what's interesting is the way this passage is written seems to suggest that at the moment they started working, nothing had changed, right? So physically, everything was still the same. Their bodies still hurt, they still had open sores, all that. And yet they started working, to go and meet the priest. And that takes me to my second point. You need to start working. You need to start taking steps of faith. You need to start taking risks. You need to start moving in the direction of the thing you are trusting God for. You can't just, ask God for something or trust God for something or hope that something is going to happen and then do nothing, right? And stay in that place of safety. You actually need to take a step of faith. Like I said in my first video, faith can be translated as, or can be spelled as RISK. So you actually need to step out of your comfort zone and start working towards that thing that you are believing for and taking actions, positive actions, apply for that visa, apply for the job, put yourself out there, release the first video, like I did a couple of weeks ago, take those steps of faith, and then you'll see God starting to work. And the Bible then records that as they went, they were healed. So their miracle came as they were moving towards, in obedience yet again, towards the thing that they had trusted God for. So I think that just goes to say, start working, start taking steps of faith, start taking risks, start moving in the direction, of the thing that you have asked God for. And that's the first story. And so my second story for today it's a really funny one. So it's in Mark chapter 11. Now Jesus is hungry, right? It's Jesus and the fig tree, for those who know the story. Jesus is hungry. He'd been preaching for a while. He's come to this place and he sees this fig tree, right? The fig is a fruit. And there are lots of leaves on it. And he kind of expects, to see some fruit. So he goes to the tree and tries to find some fruit. And he doesn't see anything, right? And he's a bit disappointed and he gets a bit upset, a bit hungry. And he says to the tree, "No one will eat fruit from you ever again." Which is a little bit weird, to be honest. And the Bible says the disciples heard it, right? Which is interesting. So first, he used his mouth and he spoke what he wanted to see, right? And that's important because, the Bible records, I think it's in, where is it? I think it's in Proverbs 18, verse 21. It says, "From the fruit of his mouth, a man's belly is filled, and the harvest from his lips, and with the harvest from his lips, he is satisfied." And then verse 21 is very important. It says, "Life and death are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit." And I think that's really relevant for us today because there is power in what you say. So you need to be careful and speak what you want to see. Don't just describe your current situation. Don't just, elaborate on, this is what I'm facing and tell all the stories of doom and gloom. No, make sure that your words confirm it first, the thing you ask God for. Second, the actions that you are taking, right? And three, what you want to see. Because the thing is, if you speak negative things, they would come to pass. If you speak positive things, they would come to pass. And so this story goes on. So he speaks to this tree and he walks off. And the Bible says the disciples heard it. And I think that's interesting again. So it's not just important to speak it in your mind. You also need to say it so that your ears can hear it, right? Speak the words of faith so that your surrounding, the firmament, the environment can hear it, right? Others can also hear your words of faith. When you're speaking to people as well, there should be words of faith. Anyway, the story goes on. So they go into the city, they preach for a while, and they're kind of coming back the following day. And then the disciples look at that tree because obviously when he spoke the words, nothing happened, right? And again, it was like, okay, just kind of like with the lepers, right? There was no change instantly. And so they go into the city, and the following day, by the time they come out, they see that the fig tree had withered from its roots up. And that's incredible. That seems to suggest, and they go, "Wow, Jesus, look, the tree you spoke to has withered, right, from the root up." And that seems to suggest that the moment Jesus said to that tree, "No one's going to eat anything from you," a change had started to occur, right? It was occurring on the ground. And I think in the same way, once you start speaking words of faith, once you pray to God and ask Him for something, a change starts happening. You may not see it yet, but you need to keep walking in faith. You need to keep speaking the words you want to see. And indeed, at the appointed time, at that Kairos moment, to go to my second video, yet another plug if you've not watched it, right? You will see those things come to pass. And Jesus's response to them is kind of, the main point I wanted to make to you today. He says to them, have faith in God. He says, if anyone shall say to this mountain, and probably looking at the mountain, move from here to there, and shall believe in their heart that the thing which they said will come to pass. The Bible says it will be done for them. Now, let's unpack a couple of things in that as I get ready to round up. First, it says, if anyone. Now, at the start of the video, I talked about the fact that this channel is not just for people of faith. And this seems to suggest that it's anyone, right? So anyone is anyone. Person of faith, no faith, whatever it is. If you would say with your mouth, in some places might say if you prophesy, if you would say with your mouth, this mountain. And now the mountain can be anything in your life. It can be something that you've been hoping for so long. It could be something that you've been, it's basically, a mountain is something that is so big, that is bigger than you, that basically you need, you need God, essentially. You need something, the universe, to work in your favor to get that to happen. If you can say to that mountain, this is what I want you to do, move from here to there. Is it IVF? You've been trying IVF for so long and you've been hoping to have a child that you can call your own. That is your mountain. If you can say to that mountain, this is what I want, right? And believe in your heart that that thing that you have said will come to pass. Whatever that mountain might be in your life, say to it, speak to it, positive words of faith. Take action. And the Bible says it will be done for you. And it says, whatever you ask for in prayer, if you believe that you have received it, it will be yours. Now, for me, I reflect on what does it mean to believe that I've received it. It means that just like the lepers, right? The only reason why I would go and show myself to the priest is if I have gotten well, right? So I would start walking in a way, in a manner, I would start talking in a way, in a manner that aligns with what I'm believing in, that aligns with what I believe, that I have received it. I believe that I've gotten a new job. And so I'm going to walk by faith. I'm going to actually apply for the job. I'm going to actually prepare for the interview. I'm going to actually start, planning to move from this place to that place. All the actions basically aligning with the thing I'm believing God for. And as we round up today, I just want to, just remind you of some of the things we've shared. While you are waiting, while you are trusting God for that thing, sometimes it might take a while. Sometimes it might not happen instantly. But while waiting, first make sure you have asked. Secondly, start working, start taking risks, start moving in the direction of the things you've asked God for, and use your mouth to speak what you want to see, not just to describe your current situation, and believe it. And as the Bible said, if anyone, right, shall say to this mountain, move from here to there, and shall believe in their heart that what they have said they will get, the Bible says it to be done for them. And my prayer for you and I is that as we take these steps of faith, as we obey these principles, we would see God work wonders in our lives. Yeah, that's it. We've come to the end of our third video. If you've loved what you've heard so far, please, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell icon. And if you have any thoughts, comments, testimonies, yes, testimonies, because I do believe that we're going to hear testimonies out of this. Please do leave them in the comment section. God bless you. And yet again, have a wonderful week ahead. Bye-bye.